Felix, speak to us on this. You have an inside view on some of these things. Amongst those that were pardoned, the clemency granted to them, most of them were drug peddlers.
Yes, we have drug peddlers. We have people who had taken bribe during the subsidy hearing.
Farouk Lawan.
And we have some kidnappers.
Yes, and murderers equally.
And murderers.
The lady who murdered the husband.
The husband in Abuja.
Yeah.
And so many sundry issues. We have nationalists, the like of Herbert Macaulay, who the British government had convicted for committing an offense in 1913. 1930, is it 1913 or thereabouts? Yeah, before actually amalgamation. 1913, 1920, and 1930. So all these are persons who have applied for clemency. Clemency is not granted in automation. Clemency is granted through a process where a convict, or an ex-convict, an ex-convict is one that have served his term of imprisonment, while a convict is someone who is still in dependency of service of his this and all that. So once you are convicted or you are an ex-convict, it is only the president or the governor of a state that can redeem you, and more like cleansing your entire wrong, your sin, so that you can be reintegrated into society, you can vote and be voted for. The like of Ibori got the pardon. You know, after stealing data state dry, devastated the entire state and all that, they all got pardon. It was a windfall for the likes of Ibori because he was a governor at the time Tinubu was a governor. And Farouk Lawan, who also was in the House of Rep, then the other one. So it comes with a lot of criticism, especially because the Council of State is involved. Council of State means all past presidents of the country. I think all past CJ and IGs. I think there are multiple. I can't remember the full package, but Council of State is like the highest advisory body of the country that advises the president on very salient issues. Now, when we say prerogative of mercy, what do we mean? It's a process where a power given to the president to, redeem or free, or more like cleansing the sins of convict or an ex-convict. But that power, the law says, must be exercised judicially and judiciously, must not be abused. In the case under reference, I'm not sure whether that power was judicially dispensed. The last time we had this dispensation of this power was the time of Buhari, where he freed former Governor Jolly Iyame of Jolly Iyame, right?
Of
Taraba, and some other persons. And there was a lot of public outcry as to why persons who have stood against the development of society must be granted pardon and the rest of that. And now we're seeing a very fresh one again. It is legal, It's an executive solution, executive remedy. It is, the clause there is that executive remedy should not be abused, should be used judiciously. But for this, I think there are semblances of abuse in this particular one because first, the number is quite large. Two, the person so granted the clemency, I do not see the remorse. One of the requirements is that the person must be sorry. She must be remorseful. There may be sometimes ill health. Sometimes it is such that the conviction was wrongful, or that the person under reference, the offense that took him there was an offense he couldn't have helped the situation. And the rest of that. Just like the guy that killed someone recently in Adamawa State that has been convicted to Supreme Court. I thought somebody like him should make the list. Perhaps no counsel to apply for him or whatever it is. But people like that who was, as a matter of self-defense, he took the life of another person. the person on that reference is even a part of the bad people in society that I'll talk about, insurgency and the rest of that. But at the end of the day, he went in for it. People like that who, by maybe not having a strong lawyer to argue their cases for them, they slip into detention and incarceration. People like that, that is the kind of people that we extend prerogative of mercy to, not people who willingly, took bribes, mess up a committee, people who had mandate of the people to represent them and turn it against them. People who stole government money deliberately and squander it. People who, as a result of the fact that they depleted the resources of the states don't have public health care, they don't have transport system, they don't have, a lot of people have died in the process. So are they the kind of people who carry drugs? Okay. However, it is the president's prerogative and exercise it. All we can do is to say that henceforth there should be some strict application of that rule, so that the court system is not giving a burden to waste taxpayers' resources prosecuting people. The court is congested because they are prosecuting all this manner of cases, only for the federal government to turn around the next day and free them. So why didn't you step in during their trial, using the Attorney General to get what we call takeover and discontinue? Because the Attorney General of the state and the Attorney General of the Federation also have powers to take over and discontinue criminal proceedings. Why didn't you discontinue it? It's cheaper for us than to allow for a whole hog. Judges will write judgment in longhand, read judgment, adjourn cases, lawyers will come, they will pay, everybody will be involved laboriously. Then when we get one conviction, we celebrate it for 1 or 2 years. The person is in prison. In the 3rd year, is carried out by prerogative of mercy. I'm not against those who are in prison, who are in detention. I know the situation is very, very tough. I also know that if they are not committed an offense, they will not be there. I also know that people can be remorseful and people can change. I mean, the prison facility is a reformative ground in very civilized clan, especially that is not very true in our situation. But I know all the concerns. But I'm also saying that what is left of society too must be preserved. If people know that when they commit offense, they will come out through prerogative of mercy, they will keep committing offenses. So the situation is neither here nor there.
Okay, well said. Now, looking at the need for publication and justification of decisions, right? So, do you think there should be a legal requirement for transparency in the selection of pardon beneficiaries?
Okay, that there should be transparency.
Yes.
That there should be like a jury system that will evaluate it, not just the president.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. It's not just the president. There is the Council of State. Okay, and you also have the Office of the Attorney General, where this application is made, okay? Yeah. And then it is an administrative thing. The only thing the law says is that the president is hereby reposed with the power to grant prerogative of mercy. You understand? But when you look at the internal factors, the administrative factors, some of the factors they consider is the conviction, how remorseful the person is, how many years spent, okay, and the rest of that. So many sundry issues. Like the case of the woman that killed her husband, her children. Okay? She has been in incarceration. For her children to see her, they must come into the prison facility. So there are so many issues. So when you put all those issues together, the likes of Farouk Lawan have claimed to be remorseful. I do not think he will reach remorseful, because in one of the occasion he attended, which is online, he declared that he's not a thief in the event. You understand? So how was he convicted in the UK? And the many of them that got all this, not all of them are remorseful. Some of them still have the proclivity and the tendency to do the same thing over and over again, no matter how many times you put them in detention. So looking at that situation, it's on the basis of that backdrop that will say, like you are asking for, there should be transparency. What you are saying should be made known to the public. It's not made known to the public. It's not made known to public scrutiny. Okay? Because public scrutiny to have its own issues, have its own problems. If you put it to public scrutiny, people who have problem with that person will tell you that the person is not remorseful, should remain there. And those who, so it's an executive remedy. So it is the executive that laid down the rules under which they want to dispense it. And so, not just in Nigeria, all over the world.
Okay.
Trump, during his first term, as he was about to leave office, he granted pardon to so many businessmen and the offenders, the convict and the rest of that. So some of them are serving life jail time. Many of them are serving jail time of different degrees. You understand what? He pardoned them, and it's just what the law is.
All right.
The law is
especially the insurrectionists who wanted to overtake the Capitol Hill.
Yes.
Yeah. Some of the time, that is more like a terrorist act.
Yes.
But Donald Trump pardoned every single one of them, which is still debatable in the United States as we speak. But let's take a look at Mba's exit and the PDP's take dominance in the southeast of Nigeria. Barrister, this is an open sesame for the opposition party defecting to the APC, the ruling party. Omoyeno is off the grid. Sheriff Oborori is off. Mba is about to leave tomorrow on Tuesday. Diri of Bayelsa is about to leave also. The only people left with the PDP is now Bauchi State Governor Semenalayi is neither here nor there. But speak to me on this. He's in PDP, but he's hanging PDP.
There's anything like that. The PDP have allowed itself to be destroyed. Okay. Has allowed itself to be destroyed. And I'm very disappointed at the way they have gone about it. The only person who was trying to put the PDP together was Shehu Showumi. And as it stands now, it doesn't appear like he's talking about the alternative now.
Shehu Showumi is literally speaking for the APC now.
That's what I'm saying. He was talking about how he went to a barber shop in Abuja, and some persons were complaining about the Maraba Road. Okay, and he now said he will call the minister for works. And when he called the minister for works, now said, okay, so we are talking about that road. How about you come with me to the Lagos Coastal Highway for inspection? That's how he left the matter and followed the minister for the inspection. And some critics were saying that so the ministers, they called him to the minister and successfully deflect his attention from what he originally wanted to do, and he never went back to that matter again. You understand? So there's something about the ruling party and many of us who claim we can be our own men. It takes a lot of discipline to so do. That is why I commend President Tinubu. Whilst he was in opposition, he was unmovable. There was no time when it was doubted that he wants to leave the political party, the APC or the AC or the AD, at every transition that they had. He rather was investing in transitions and alliances and building bridges than to leave this political party. Look at the way PDP is falling. Do you know that PDP held sway in this country from 1999 down to 2015? And if they tell you that it was actually the PDP that was in power for that long, would you believe, looking at PDP today? And the governors have not helped matters. They too, they are looking for a way to return. Okay? And you know that, you see this Tinubu is a very crafty and intelligent person. Very, very, you know what he did that won the heart of the governors? What he did is this. He took all the monies for the subsidy, and spread it on all the states. Yes, spread it on all of them. Add it to their allocation. Kept pumping it to them. And so when they look at what they were getting before and what they are getting now, and they look at the man who made it possible, and they look at the fact that they need to return as governors, all of them are pulling. That's what is pulling them off. So that is money. They know that it's not even bribe. It's legal. The subsidy funds, we have removed it. Now what we are generating, spread it to the states. Just that decision only. Look at all of them falling on themselves. Okay. The party that's a vehicle that made them governors, they've abandoned it. So it is a breach of trust. It is serious betrayal. Much so because that same money, they are not using it for the benefit of the state. They are using it to prepare for the next election. To be more powerful, to be able to use it against the opposition, and to be able to use it to bribe INEC. That's exactly what they are doing. So it is difficult for you when you look at other governors, when they are having their, what do you call it, APC governors meeting, and you have almost like, out of 36, you have like 20 something. And the PDP, when they call their meeting, they're like 3 governors or 4. So it's becoming a thing of shame that joining the bandwagon in Nigeria is the way to go. Nobody have any philosophy, any kind of, let us respect our manifesto. Because we have a manifesto, we need to respect it so that the people will know that we stand by them. There's nothing like that in Nigeria. What everyone is doing is to jump from pillar to post, which tells you that what they are looking for is money. It is difficult to redeem this country. It is very, very difficult to redeem this country. And so it behoves of the citizens, we keep saying this, the citizens to decide what they want. Because each time they go to the polls, it's either their vote will not count, or when it counts, it is not respected. Or when it also counts, it is sidestepped. You understand? We saw how Tinubu emerged. We saw how he emerged. We were all disappointed. People were disappointed. A few years down the line, the like of Erufai came out and said that Obi won the election. You understand? So if we continue like this, now, as it stands now, tell me how any political party, tell me how they're going to do it in 2027. If almost all the governors, do you know that in the House of, in this National Assembly, Senate to be precise, that the APC have almost 70-something%. So there is no bill they cannot move. There's nothing they cannot, with the number they have. So if they have 70-something%, what is left? Then the governor now, you don't have maybe like the governor, APC governors across the country. They are getting to 70% too.
Yes.
Okay?
Wow.
And when you are talking election, you can't ignore a governor of a state. And as they are moving, their local government chairmen are moving. Their ministers, their commissioners are moving with them. You understand? So at the end of the day, we are looking at a one-party state. That's what is happening gradually. And not because Tinubu came down to go and campaign. He just opened the floodgate of resources to them. And that was it. So right now, because of the love of money, and that irresistibility that comes with it, people, governors don't want to hear any other thing. All of them are moving to secure the next election.
Wow.
And it's painful.
Very, very painful, actually.
It is, and they might be feeling that they might be feeling that it's a strategy for them to, you know, dispense this money out there, like the subsidy money, and then generate it or use it for the forthcoming election. But I feel that the citizens, just like what you said, sir, we really have a lot to do. We need to decide who will really rule this country or will be seated in on that seat by 2027. I feel that once we know what we want to do, once we know this person that will be there, then I feel the change that we've been hoping for will definitely
once
come.
you know what to do. A lot of people know what to do.
Yeah, we know what we do.
But you know, each time we stand to say we know what to do, this is where we stand. Half of us will go and collect money. The remaining half will go to the polls and sell their vote. Look at ASUU. That new one that just came up now is funded by politicians. Just go and find out. To which the power of the main ASUU. That's what we do in Nigeria. When you start a protest now, government will sponsor a counter-protest. You see people who come out to fight those protests.
So what are we not saying? We keep fighting.
We're not saying anything now. We're going nowhere. That's what we're saying. We're not going anywhere. So this one we are talking about, if we know what we're doing, we'll all come out, and the people have lost their powers. You understand? The people have long lost their powers, especially when they are trapped in poverty.
So how do we redeem this power back?
That's what we're talking about. The reduction of the power is tied to citizens' character, discipline. Nigerians have no discipline. Even amongst ourselves that have been cheated, bruised, a lot of people still want to swindle from the same people who are affected. The kidnappers are not going to kidnap the children of rich men or see rich men and kidnap them. They will worship them. They will go to the same citizens who are going through the same things they are going through, kidnap them and ask for ransom. You understand me? So it's like a cursed society where if you are downtrodden, that is the only offense you need to commit for you to have all the negativities of this society bestowed upon you just because you are downtrodden. It takes so much. It takes so much to pull out of the Nigerian system and make a living.
Very so sad. Very so sad, really. All right, we would leave it at this point. We have other interesting stories here, but for the want of time, we just have to let it go, and we'll be right back. That is when we return on the second half. Federal government ASUU clash again as lecturers begin 2-week strike. In a bit, still Enterprise Morning.
We'll be right back.
Thank you so very much for being back, and if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's head straight to our conversation for today. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has declared a 2-week warning strike over the federal government's failure to meet its long-standing demands. ASUU President Professor Chris Piwuna said the action followed an expired 14-day ultimatum, accusing the government of neglecting issues such as the 2009 renegotiated agreement, withheld salaries, and revitalisation funding.
Very true. Despite last-minute meetings by the Ministers of Education and Labour, the union insisted that government proposals were inconsistent and disappointing. Professor Piwuna warned that a total and indefinite strike would follow if the government fails to act within the 2 weeks.
Meanwhile, the Congress of University Academics, known as CONUA, said its members would not join the strike, describing ASUU's decision as unnecessary. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, urged quick resolution to prevent further disruption.
Government officials, however, accused ASUU of rejecting dialogue efforts, saying the strike was pre-planned despite ongoing negotiations and renewed commitment from President Tinubu's administration.
Let's get talking. We still have Barrister Francis Ferry. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for hanging on. All right, so let's get into this discussion. It's been a perennial issue. From the 80s to the 90s, it's often been ASUU strike. It's even better now. You know, back in the days in the 80s, 90s, you see school being, people or students being out of school for years. A course that should last for 4 years is ending 7 years.
No, 8 years.
Right. So what do you think? Do you think we've gotten it better? And maybe the ASUU members are becoming too pressing forward for something that is really not needful at this point?
Well, this whole thing is a paradox, okay? Because we actually got a lot of universities built under the military regime. And in that same regime, you had more strikes.
Yes.
Okay? return to democracy, you have a lot of strike too. Because the Nigerian government have never really committed itself to education, to improving the quality of education of its citizens. You understand? So that makes it very difficult to assess the situation. The only time I can remember that ASUU had an unfettered access to was during the time of Yaradua. Yes, Yaradua, wherein it's been able to put a lot of measures together before that one also break down. Now, this agreement they're talking about is the 2009 agreement. In that 2009, ASUU was on strike for 6 months, trying before they came up with that agreement. Now, they came up with that agreement from 2009 till date. The federal government have been shifting the goalposts.
Started with the good luck Ebele Jonathan's era.
Yes, Jonathan's 2009. That then it was the Professor, was it Fage that was the ASUU chairman then? I can't remember. You understand? So the issue still lingers till date because the federal government do not keep to the promises. Every MOU signed, every agreement signed is breached by the federal government. The lecturers are ready to work, okay? But what they earn is nothing to write home about. A professor in Nigerian university earns about 400,000 naira, okay? And that's persons who have read to PhD level. If a person has read to PhD level and is being paid 400,000 naira, that is very unfortunate. 400,000 naira is about $250. $250. You can imagine. So what is it? What exactly is the person going to execute with that, having read to that level? So what they are telling us in effect is that reading to the level of PhD or becoming a professor is a waste of time, because the financial compensation for that level or that degree of engagement in academics was 400 and something thousand naira per month. You understand? Little wonder not many persons are, eager to want to read up to PhD level. Not many persons because of the rigors. And what you have to spend to even get there, and you are not sure of recouping it. So Dangote had published, for employment sometime ago, where PhD holders applied as drivers and the rest of that. So we've seen all that in this country. The average teacher or the average lecturer earns how much really? Many of them earn 150,000. Okay, they are supposed to use that to buy a car, to send their children to school, to feed their families, and to show up for work, to impact the next generation. You cannot use poverty to impact the next generation. You give what you have. You cannot give what you don't have. You can be very intelligent, highly prepared, ready for work and all that. You can be capacitated by poverty. And poverty will reduce the quality of what you are delivering. You cannot deliver more than the capacity of your welfare, your motivation. You cannot be giving excellently well when the capacity of your motivation has been crippled. And because poverty also affects the mind, it calls for the quality of what is being dispensed to the next generation, because they may think they are learning so well and fantastic, but they could have done better. We don't know how much we have been misgoverned in this country. If we know how much we have been misgoverned, we'll take very serious measures to redeem ourselves. So when you look at it properly, let's now talk about infrastructure and facility, instructional material to even teach. Okay, lecture theaters, and how students will have to stand sometimes at the window to be able to, and in all this lack of funding of the university, the federal government is still approving new universities every day. We are still having new ones. We just got a university in Delta State. We're not complaining anyway, because we don't have federal presence all this while. We just got one. The only federal president we had since was the prison. federal prison. Wale. Now we just got a University of Science, University of Medicine and Health, something like that. So other states have been different universities all over the place, but the funding is a problem. Why can't the federal government, as a way of compensating this same society that have been voting them to power, that have been out there every year, every 4 years, to renew leadership and other? Why can't the federal government invest in the education of the Nigerian child? Because if you invest in the education perhaps is the right of the citizen. If you look at the Child Rights Act, it's a right of the citizen, okay? But then the attention, how many times have you seen this government undertaking serious inspection of universities in this country, going around?
I'm sure it has never happened.
It's not the Lagos Calabar Coastal Way. If it were to be the Coastal Way, they will be there every day to prove and disprove to the people that it is the best thing that has ever happened to Nigeria after Agege bread. But nobody is undertaking any serious reform, any serious evaluation, any serious issue about the university system. That the university system has even changed the world over. It's not even a concern. None of our universities have a very low capacity. Some universities now can even run 2 sessions in the same time. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Some universities abroad, they run an online course to the tune of the population of their physical attendance students.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
When the physical attendance students are on break, the online comes into school.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand? So when I'm talking about admission, even admission is better today because of the public schools, the private universities. Unlike my time, it takes so much to gain an admission. With a JAMB score of 270, you are struggling to get admission. You understand? In those days. It is better today, but I think nobody's talking about the Minister of Science, Innovation and something that's supposed to innovate this. Did not have results. He claimed he had results. You understand? So, nobody, the university, Nigerian university is an afterthought. Yes, an afterthought. Nobody's talking about how to improve on learning, the one is talking about AI now. You understand? And they said in the next 20 years that AI is going to make more millionaires than the internet have done for the past 45 years. You know, the internet was actually founded in 1980. Didn't take 45 years ago. Didn't become what it is today until the year 2000. And that from that time till now, that in the next 20 years, AI is going to make more billionaires, create more employment than the internet have done in the last 45 years. So how do we cash into this? It's just because the Nigerian society have people who are fast learners who can convert any of this app to something useful. You understand? Before today, skit making and content creation was not important. But today is even a discipline. Okay, people are creating courses out of it. Okay? But you understand? And we know how to take advantage of those issues. But our government, as a collective, as an entity, do not know how to create the enabling environment that will allow us to thrive in these respective areas. Rather, they will see the National Assembly and want to make laws to stop it.
So do you think concessioning it would be better when we concession schools, since it's becoming obvious that the government can't run them?
You know, the part of ASUU in that agreement was university autonomy. The 2009 agreement is university autonomy.
But the money they were stating there, 1 trillion naira to every university, it's humongous.
Well,
who would run it? ASUU can't run it.
Yes, it's humongous. It's not ASUU that was to run it. They are talking about autonomy. the school will run it.
Okay.
But if you leave it off at that, the subsidy that the federal government provides may be affected if you talk about full autonomy, because the student will have to pay more.
Okay.
Yes, because in my 5 years that I studied law, everything I paid was not up to 200,000 naira.
Wow.
I don't think it's up to 200,000 naira. Can you use that to become a lawyer anywhere in the world? You can't. To study medicine, to train as a medicine in this country, as a medical doctor in this country, if in a federal university, I don't think you will spend up to 1 million naira.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the world can you do that. So there's this subsidy that comes from the federal government. You have the NUC managing the university, and you have a university committee in the National Assembly, okay, that manages the NUC and all that. So when the government pay the lecturers and pay, it's not what they are generating from the school whole Sunday. You understand?
Yeah.
There's a leveler. There's government.
Comes to filling the space and they take care of.
There's a huge chunk of resources that is coming from somewhere else. So the autonomy too is not a well thought out, but it's an agreement they entered into. Few years down the line, they discovered that agreement is not realistic. Some things there, the people will have to. In fact, this even NEL fund will not even save the people.
Today, NEL fund is in a big crisis. They can't afford it again. Why? Because schools are on their own increasing the cost of their tuition, which is above what NEL fund is.
So it's in crisis already. It's hanged already. You understand? So the government of Nigeria will need to take decisive measure to see how it can maybe not everything can be met in the agreement, but these fundamental issues, improving infrastructure in the Nigerian university, is critical. It's critical. For me, I would even say that those federal universities are all in different states. Okay? Why can't you come up with a policy where the federal government will do funding and state will have counterpart funding?
The same states that can't pay their salaries and
Yeah,
can't even take care of their own private universities.
What else are we going to say? Because the federal universities, many of them, it was the state that owed them.
Yeah.
Like for Delta, for Bayelsa, for, you understand? Many of them, if they take the state effort in having those universities, which means that they are interested. And those universities develop states.
Yeah. And communities.
Where
they're situated.
You understand? Where it's situated and all that. So if they benefit from the development, if they benefit from what it brings to the state, at the point where they are owing the federal government should use that period to strike an agreement with them. Let them have counterpart funding. The state can come up with a tax system under the state revenue board. Yes, they can come up with every revenue gathered, they say 5%. We'll be using it as our counterpart funding for the federal universities in our states. Then the federal government can meet the. So it's an issue of planning. It's an issue of planning. I know of a church in this country that every revenue the church acquired, they keep 5% for CSR. Now, that 5% they keep for CSR, when it gets a particular amount, they will move into a community, take up a public project, finish it to conclusion and hand it over to the state. Even federal projects. The Ikeja cantonment that was destroyed by bomb blast. It was Daystar Christian Center that rebuilt all the facilities. Applied to the federal government that this is the church CSR, this time around, they've built schools already before and all that. This time around, they want to undertake this project and replace all that was destroyed. And the federal government granted them the access. And within a space of a year and or less, they finished all those specifications and standard. And the federal government came to commission it. And they hand over to the federal government. So a state can have such collaboration. A state is richer than many churches. The churches. So what is it that the state cannot collaborate with the federal government to promote the image of those universities so that if the federal government is unable to cater fully for the universities, wherever they stop, the state can make counterpart funding. Now when ASUU is crying out, ASUU will not just be calling the federal government. Each time ASUU is calling the federal government, the state will know that we too were involved. We should be able to come up. So the state should have laws or policies on ground that will support education. Because the truth is that most of those federal universities, I'm just telling you the truth, most of those federal universities, when you go there, admission, they give admission more to the indigents.
Yeah, of course, The quota system, there's always there.
Yes, they give admission more. But the University of Just then, I knew that a lot of the persons who came into UJ then, as at the time we came in, had lesser jam score. We had very high jam score. We were battling to get in. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. So if it benefits them that much, they should be able to put something down to ensure that the universities have a new face. After all, the benefit comes to them. The immediate benefit really comes to them. So that is a strategy they can use so that ASUU will not be shouting because the federal government all the time. The federal government itself is not ready to commit itself 100% into improving the universities. If a government have not improved universities and the government have not catered for the people in terms of public health care, what has the government done? Because what else is in this life other than healthcare and education? There's nothing again. Healthcare, welfare, education, that's all. Every other thing is a wish. Every other thing you can aspire to get on your own. You understand?
Yeah.
But you cannot build a private hospital that enter you fall sick, you want to go there. You can't.
Well, sure.
But electricity, you can give yourself electricity.
Yeah.
You can give yourself water. Not everything you can give yourself. You cannot build hospital. Anytime I'm sick, I'll go there. You can't do those ones. Those ones we cannot do. Let the government do it effectively. You cannot build a university just because of your two children.
That's true.
You understand?
Yes,
so the government should be able to take care of what it must take care of. That is the only way that it can be remembered and be seen as a function. With this dysfunctionality is uncalled for. It's uncalled for because the resources to manage our own welfare, the way we are, depending on when things get better. If we don't want to be extravagant and flamboyant, we have it. We don't have the one that will take all of us to the moon and the sky. But the one that will educate us, the one that will put us in good light, and the one that will put our economy in order, we have it. So the government should dispense it accordingly and manage it.
Very well said.
Okay, this question, I think what I want to ask, I think he has been able to sum it up. It's more of like, how can the government and ASUU rebuild trust after years of broken agreements and, confrontations?
Yeah, they can rebuild trust by adhering to the terms of the agreement.
Okay.
Then the parts where they are not able to fulfill, they can call for review. No agreement is iron cast because this agreement is public driven. It's not an agreement of businessmen that say we'll come and review and say no, we've already agreed. You can't. This one is an agreement entered in between two institutions on behalf of the public. You understand? So if part of it was not well thought out and the government cannot really fulfill it, there's nothing wrong in calling for a review. And that review will mean these solutions I'm talking about. You understand? Let us have all this. Then in those regions where you have companies, you can go and levy some kind of tax on those companies. Yes. The companies in that environment, the businesses in that environment and all that, that university favors them. Those businesses in those environments, when students gather, they will buy things.
Yes.
You understand?
True.
So they will buy things, they will use transport, they will. So all those people running transport, all the people doing business, all the whatever it is doing, whatever it is you are doing, they must be able to drop something. You understand? That is how we run SUG now in the school now. How do you run SUG? SUG, then we collect levies.
Yes.
All the people selling around the school, all the people doing whatever it is.
Yes.
You come and do something. What any business you have within the facility, you are selling food, you are selling provision, you collect rent too. That's how we run SUG in the university. So the same thing applies. They should contribute for the benefit of society. If tax is well defined, people will pay it. It's only when it's not well defined, and you're taking the money and you're not using it, you're not plunging it back into the system. That's when people will complain. Otherwise, if you are taking the money and you're using it, they are seeing roads, they are seeing facilities, they are seeing, they will know that the tax is working. People will come and declare that they want to pay. That's how it works.
All right, we sincerely do hope that things will get better. The third fund, that's the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, is there. They've done a lot, but not as much as they ought to do. NEL Fund has been included to that, though it's not doing as much as it should. About 400,000, according to the data they have given those NEL funds to, out of 1.9 million. 1.9 million Nigerian students in public institutions. So they've only assisted about 400,000 of them. So we have about 1.5.
No, the tech fund you talk about, how did it come about? Was it not from oil, crude?
Yes.
That 5% too I talk about. That's how the tech fund was. I mean, then the University of Jos, they donated how many buses? When Buhari was in charge.
Yes.
Donated so many buses to the University of Jos.
And laboratories, actually. They rebuilt some of them. And
laboratories and many. In the university, then we could see many, even chairs.
Yeah, you always see them. They inscribe, they write it for them.
Yes, always there.
Yes.
And this was just 5% contribution somewhere. It's just for you to remember, even the resources that come to your hand, if you keep 5% over time, you can do something magnificent with it. That's what I'm saying. These are disposable income that you could have spent and not know that you spent them. But you keep them somewhere, use it to build, facilities. Even they say it's not tax religious institution. Churches should come and be dropping some things, 5%, 2%, 3%. They will revamp all these universities. See, no country can run successfully demanding its government to take. That's why you have public-private initiatives, okay, public-private partnerships. You understand? Well, just because they say religious institutions should not be taxed, they just remove their hand from everything. Churches have a lot of money they can contribute.
Yes, very well.
You understand? They should not even be taxed. The federal government can open what do you call it? Something for voluntary contribution.
Except so.
If they donate let's say for just one purpose, let's say for tertiary institution only. Because many of these religious institutions have schools too.
Yes, that they manage too.
Yes, many of them have primary, they have secondary, they have universities. Many of them. So they know what it is. So if they can also contribute, this thing is in good faith. You understand? It's in good faith. When Caesar had sent his men to go and tax the disciples, because these people are a group of 12, they're supposed to be paying tax. The fact that they sit people down and talk, people listen to them, and they benefit from the road from Jerusalem to Jericho was not built by God, not God that is the government of the day, the Roman government. They were the one taking care of the facilities. It's not God that named it Jerusalem to Jericho. It was a dangerous road, by the way. So everything that was ongoing then impels them to pay tax. And that's why when they came to them to ask for, Jesus says you give what belongs to Caesar to Caesar, and that will belong to God to God. You understand? So the church itself understands the place of contributing financially to societal growth. That's what it means. So the fact that you now have contemporary legal system that says the church should not be taxed, does not mean that they will now just go silent. Because the church in the day of Christ were taxed. So it's a liberal government now. I don't want them to be in that pool. But they should be able to contribute something to the development of the country through, free and willful contribution.
Very well said. Nigerians are actually not afraid or scared of paying bills, but the issue is when we contribute such bills, are they directed in the right place? Surcharge will soon be charged from next year.